Hello, and welcome to the Viva La Vulva podcast. I am your host, Dr. Cara Quant, and I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Today, I have on the podcast a special guest. She is a director, she's a filmmaker, she's an actress, and her name is Destinee Stewart. And just a little background, I did a panel years ago. Sylvia Ray was the videographer for my panel, and I met Destinee through Sylvia. And she did a short that is hilarious, and we're going to dive all into it. But thank you, Destinee, for being on the podcast today. And I also wanted you to just introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you so much for having me. I think you did a pretty great job. But like you said, my name is Destinee. I am a filmmaker, I'm an actress, I'm a writer. I'm also an outdoor educator, and I love all things film. And I love that I get to play in this medium and tell stories for a living.
Yes, and it's such a great thing that you did with the short that we're going to get into called The Other Partners.
Yeah.
Partners plural, and you'll see why. You'll see why in a bit. But yeah, it's dope that you're a creative and that you're creating content like this, because I'm like, yes, like we need to see more stuff like this, like to create conversations, to create, yeah, like just more narratives about this. Like it is very much needed.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, it's
I love the content that you're creating. And I wanted to dive into the synopsis of The Other Partner. That, yeah, so it's a short, and it is, so the synopsis is: while preparing for their first dinner party together, Rowan's boyfriend Raj discovers her dildo in a kitchen drawer. What ensues is a comedic battle of the sexes as Raj expresses his discomfort and Rowan stands up for her right to choose self love, healing, and sexual intimacy through masturbation.
yes. Other
Yes,
partners.
the other partners. So let's dive into it. Like, what made you even want to make this short in the first place?
Yeah, so I wrote this film a long time ago, even before I moved to LA. The first version of it. And it was really because in my female circle, masturbation was such a hush hush thing. And I just found it quite hilarious because for me, around my female counterparts or my peers, like I feel that I should feel the most comfortable to discuss these things. What brought me to it was just the conversations around it that I was having with my girlfriends. A lot of them were uncomfortable with the idea, and I started researching just masturbation and just theology around it. And I learned of the orgasm gap. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not just me and my inner circle. This is a thing that affects so many people. And I started looking back at my own journey with it and my struggles with it and my acceptance of it and the whole journey. And I was like, I just want to put it on its head and just say all the things that I've heard that makes people uncomfortable, that I've even judged or been judged for, and just put it out all on the paper. And then when we finally got the opportunity to do it, I'll be honest, I kind of put it on the back burner after a few years. And then, or I kind of just shelved it, not even back burned, just shelved it, put it up. And I was missing directing, and Sylvia, shout out to her again. Produced her film, and she was like, "What do you have? Like, you need to shoot something. That's what you're missing. What do you have that you can do with what you have?" And because I had already started the whole process with the other partners, I had so much sponsorship and products, and the script was easy for me to manage, just two people in one location. And I just reached out to a bunch of my girlfriends, and they all just donated for me to get the money to do it. And it just came together. It was like once I made the decision of, okay, this is the easiest. And it came down to that decision because I had like a drama and then I had this. And at the time in my life, I really needed humor. I was going through a lot of grief at that period. And I was like, I just
Yeah.
want to be silly and I need humor and I wanna laugh. And so yeah, it just came together. Everything came together once I made that decision, and it was really easy.
Mm,
It was really
mm.
like I
Isn't that
couldn't.
so funny
Yeah, I
that like as
remember
soon as
Sylvia
you
being
like
like,
put your, like your
yeah,
blinders
it's just
on and
like
you're like focused, like it just
I
happens.
was freaking out about something I forget, and I remember Sylvia being like, Destiny, like everything. This is already all figured out. Like you have space to freak out, which is why you're freaking out. But yeah, a project has never come together easier. And we got our camera from Red for free. Shout out to Red and Sigma Lenses. Roscoe helped us out. Good Vibrations helped us out. Lioness helped us out. Dame Products helped us out. So it was just a really, really great affair with the other partner.
Yeah. And so you wanted to put out the that self like masturbation is self-love and that
It's
it is like
self-love.
it's okay to do it.
It's okay to do it. It is for me like the safest way to explore, if you want to get into that. But it was also just me confronting biases that I even have on it, and when we went into production, a lot of those came up. And that was really interesting to move into it that way. And I think I talked to you a little bit about this, like throughout the life of the project, I feel I was in a different place with self-love and masturbation, and the project has seen me through all of that, which has been really interesting, and I feel really held by it.
What biases do you feel like you had in creating it?
Well, yeah, definitely a lot of religion. I grew up in a religious family. My father was a pastor. My mom used to wake me up like 6 a.m. pounding gospel songs on the piano, blowing her horn and speaking in tongues. So it was definitely you do not do that. And since the first time I remember exploring that self part of myself, it was definitely a no-no. And as I continue to grow up, just seeing that more shamed in conversations, even today that I have with other grown-ups as an adult woman, still having that shame come through it. And that's really what I feel everything boils down to, whether it comes from society pressures, religious, your family, yourself, it all comes down to the shame that surrounds sex and masturbation. That I feel everything boils down to and what I was feeling at different places in this.
Yeah. And I
Will
mean,
I show it to my
I
family?
can,
Will I show it to these friends and things like
mm,
that? What am I really saying? Is this really positive and needed right now? So all those questions came into play. And I
yeah.
also like stopped masturbating myself, not for shame or anything like that, but just as in my own journey. So it was interesting when I went into production to not even have that a part of my life at that time. And still feel the love and the healing from it, even absent from it. Um, so yeah. Did that answer
Hmm.
the question? I feel
Yeah,
like we
yeah, yeah.
went around in a loop.
Yeah, no, no, it did. So have you showed it to friends and family, especially family?
I have not shown it to family. I have not shown it to particular friends, mostly because it's still in festival submission land. And I feel as a creative, I'm sensitive about my shit, as
Yeah.
I said, and I think it's important to protect yourself. And I already know the outcome of certain situations. So it's more of my family knows what I have done, but it's more of a protection of my heart and my art and our relationship of having that boundary of what they're visually allowed to see and what they're not. Because I know everyone has so much immense love for me. I really believe that in every fiber of myself, but that still doesn't stop people from their own personal judgments and biases coming through and affecting.
Mhm.
So I just have chosen not to.
Yeah. I know when I first started the Viva La Vulva journey, the reason for me doing it was to bring more information to people about women's sexual health because I feel like it wasn't a big topic and it's still, I mean, it's getting there slowly and surely. But not a big topic within the medical community and like providers being comfortable and talking with their patients about it, and even through the journey of Viva La Vulva, like my stuff has also come up, and I've like discussed some of masturbation and other things with audiences and people, and it's like, and some of these people, I mean, my mom has been there, my sister has been to some of these events, and I'm like,
That's
the
what I thought.
discussion the discussion about sex, and who first talked to you about sex, or like how was sex brought up in the household. And it was a book for me. My mom gave me a book. So I mean, like, there's a lot of
It's always
discussions, and there's things that have come up that I've been uncomfortable with because my family has been at some of these events, or like, yeah, attended some of these Zoom things, that like lectures that I've done. So it's like, yeah, it's a little awkward.
I will say my mom, she really does impress me every year. I feel like she grows so much with her awareness of how her words land. And so I do feel eventually like I will definitely feel more comfortable, as she's more of understanding and accepting that I have my own stories that I want to tell, and they will delve into whatever subject they will delve into. Um, and so yeah, eventually, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to say is like, our parents, I don't know how old your mom is, but like our parents are from a different generation.
Oh yeah.
And I also feel like it was completely not discussed. Like I feel like like we are in a generation or in a society that in a culture that I feel like has more discussions about it than our parents did. Um but I also think that there is like a openness to learn a little bit more. I actually had this funny story of a woman, an older woman. She was I mean, she looked like she was in her like 70s,
Mm.
75, like something like that. And I was doing it was an event that I was doing in the summertime. And we had dildo or just sex toys that we were giving away. And so there was a raffle for giving away these toys. And so she put herself into the raffle. And then like after all the stuff was, after we had raffled off everything, she was like, are you guys doing any more? Like, are you doing any more raffles? Like, are you like, I didn't win, but I wanted to win something. So I feel like there's definitely like a willingness and openness
Oh
to
yeah.
like learning
My
about and
my parents are
discovering.
definitely on that romantic sex train. So they are the book of song, a song of Solomon, whatever that one is in the Bible. But I will even say like dildo raffle is funny because that's how I raised my money for
Oh yeah.
this project. I did a private dildo raffle from all the toys that were donated. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I got all the money. It's just raffling off those
Just
dildos.
they are much in need. Let me tell you, they're much in need.
And
Well, that brings us
going around LA delivering dildos, returning. I had to buy some extra ones for a set, because we needed the dildo, and I knew what I wanted for the dildo. I knew exactly what I wanted, and I couldn't get it from the donations. And so I went onto Amazon and bought all these dildos. And we finally found it, but I had to also return all of these dildos to who has to scan each item. So that was a lot of fun. Also, note, Amazon lets you return dildo, so I don't know how
Really?
feels about
Okay, that's
that.
good. That's good to know.
I want to buy a dildo off of Amazon, but
And you know what? I didn't even know that Amazon sold dildos until kind of recently, where I was like, let me just look to see if they have dildos, and they have all types of stuff toys on there.
they sold. I saw it years ago on there. I typed in something that was not for a dildo. Apparently, the term is for a dildo. I forget what it was, but it's something that kind of is wild. It kind of like sends an electric current to your clit. It's really wild. I don't even
I've
know.
heard about this. I've heard about this. It's like
Yes, I
electric.
don't know what the word is that I typed in, but I typed it in and an Amazon link came up and it led me to that. And it was like this pink thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna electrocute my pussy. Like what
I'm
people are getting
interested.
some stuff. Someone it works for someone.
It does work for someone. It definitely works for somebody.
If it's on
I think
Amazon.
everyone is into, yeah, everybody's into something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next question of, do you think one can have too many sex toys?
No. But I will be completely honest. I particularly do not use sex toys, even though my film is all about sex toys. But I don't feel like you can have too many. Just because there's so many different kinds. And you need one for like differently. I will say there's one from Dame Products that I do like. And it is a sex toy. When I say sex toys, I mean more like dildos. I actually like prefer not to use a dildo, but Dame Products has this toy that like just sits on top and it just like goes and it does its thing. It's hands free. And I'm like, that's easy.
That's real easy. What?
So I
So
think
it just
that's
sits like on
interesting.
the clit
It
area
like
and
it
then,
like it's held inside the lips. The lip. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
And it just
Wait,
does
is it I think I've gotten this before. Doesn't it kind of look like a little like creature?
like a little butterfly.
Maybe not a butterfly, but I don't know if it's through Dame. So I have a friend,
Mhm.
Lily Wang. Shout out to Lily Wang.
Hi, Lily.
She has a sex toy site. And so she'll send me toys every once in a while. And so I think it's a Dame thing, but you like kind of it goes into the like it sits in the lips and you it's a vibrator,
Oh, amazing.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if Lily Wang wants to donate sex toy products to our festivals that I can raffle off or give out to audience members, Lily Wang, hit me up.
Oh yes, yes. I will definitely connect you guys. I'll give you the her information.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, no, I don't think that there's a world
What
where
about
there's too
you?
many
What do you
sex
think?
toys. No, no, I don't think that there is. I mean, I can say personally, I have many, the dildo because there's so many different ones. There's
Yeah.
dildos,
And
there's
you can include like handcuffs in
vibrators,
that
there's
and like gag
yeah.
things. Like it's just there's so many. That's why when you first asked, I was like, my mind went to dildos, but then I was like, wait, they're sex toys and
It's
so
huge. Yes. I mean, first of all, it's a $1 billion industry. So there's a lot of things that are out
there's
there.
so much.
There's so much that's out there. But yeah. But I do remember the first time that I went into like a sex store and how like just so afraid I was. And this was kind of even before like, everything was so easy, shippable. Like Amazon was selling sex toys. Like, you had to go into a
It's the
actual
next
sex store.
yeah.
um and how embarrassed I was
Yeah.
about it, and I feel like that wasn't even too long ago, like maybe 10 years ago. But yeah, like how far I've come. And there's so many people, there's so many women who still feel very uncomfortable with going into
Me too, one. Yeah.
sex
Well, there's
stores, and
websites.
there's a website, yes.
From the
There's
comfort of your
Dame.
home.
Yeah. And you can return it, as you just said.
Yes, you can
You can
return.
return it if you don't like it.
I did get an email from Amazon because I like returned a lot of stuff. This is the life of a filmmaker. Um, so like all my set design stuff, I just got on Amazon and put it together. And there was one table that the screws were like in the wrong bag, or maybe we weren't paying attention. So we put long screws in this table where it was supposed to be short screws, and like completely went through the table. I was like, I don't care. Return.
Return.
And there was like some lights that I put up that had all this sticky stuff. And I just like ripped them down. And I was like, I don't care. Return. And then those two items did get me. But then I
An
called
email.
and I was like, how dare you send me this email? And then they apologized.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
oh no, that's just, we didn't mean that. I was like, thank you.
It's like an automatic email that like sent
Yeah,
out.
like
It's
an
just like
automatic email and then a high number of returns. So don't be scared of
got
the
it.
filmmakers. Get your stuff off of Amazon and return it.
Return it. Yeah. I mean, that's for a lot of things. Definitely for a lot of things.
Sure.
Um, so like getting back to the film that you created, and in the synopsis, or in the film, there was a tension of the boyfriend to his girlfriend because she had the toys, and it almost seemed like he was like threatened by it.
Yes.
Why do you think sex toys, dildos are such a threat to partners? And I would say certain partners, because not every partner has
Not
that
every partner,
threat.
for sure, for sure. This is a particular partner. I also
Yeah.
feel like the boyfriend encompasses just all those people, not just men. And all those agencies like society and religion, I feel like he encompasses them all. In this particular situation, I think it's, well, I won't say in this particular, first in the overall grand thing, I think a lot of people, partners get insecure because for one, especially with women, it's an independence. It's a, I can please myself. I know how to do that myself, and I don't necessarily always need to come to you, but I want to come to you. And I think that taking away that need is threatening to some people. In this particular project, when you see it, you see that the dildo is rather large and very black and brown dildo, whereas Raj is not. So in this particular story, there is also that element of that insecurity of size and race, and what does it mean in an interracial relationship if you do have all your sex toys and they're of your race and not of mine. I honestly don't know. I was just like,
Mhm.
I wonder how a boyfriend would feel. Like,
Yeah.
like all my sex toys or resemble black dildos.
With
And
a good size.
yeah, I wanted to play with that. And yeah, so it was just playing with that idea with Raj and just using those agencies and those judgy people and putting them all in there.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think it could be a lot of different things of the thread. It's the size and the yeah, being able to pleasure yourself rather than your partner always being able to pleasure you.
Yeah.
I mean, but those toys can get to different places, and they can do different
Yeah.
things than the average person can do.
And
So
what if I just want a little alone time, you know?
yeah,
Like that is a-okay. You'll be okay.
yeah,
You will survive
yeah,
this. I
yeah.
love Raj so much in this. Like, we will survive this. It is okay, Raj.
Yeah.
Shout out to Raj.
Um,
Amazing Raj.
say it again.
I said shout out to Kunal. He makes an amazing Raj.
Oh yeah, he was very good at being Raj and being
Mom was
the partner.
amazing as Rowan. Really, really happy.
Yeah. So May is Masturbation May. So happy Masturbation
Happy
May to
masturbation.
you
This is
as we have this
perfect.
discussion. Yeah, this is very perfect. And so I wanted to know what your journey has been with masturbation.
Oh wow. So it started when I was a wee one with King Jareth, aka David Bowie and Labyrinth. And so that was my first masturbation session. But really my journey has really been, I remember when I was younger, just feeling really disgusted afterwards. And having to shower and repent and this psychological warfare that I would just play on myself. And I moved to LA and I randomly, I don't even know how me and this sex therapist linked on Instagram, but we started following each other. Her name is Zoe Kors. And she was offering a lot of free just sex advice and just sexual health affirmations and reclaiming that part of yourself. And also when I moved to LA, I had recently accepted a sexual trauma that had happened to me that I had before had just put down and not so much out of my mind, but pretty much out of my mind that kind of came to a head that I saw how it was affecting me and how I saw myself and sexually. And so I was processing that trauma, processing how how I was raised and I left my hometown, so it just gave me a lot of space from just those mindsets that I was around. And meaning
Wait, where are
so
you from?
I'm from Dallas.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
originally from Long Island, but I grew up in Dallas.
Mhm.
Love Dallas now, but growing up it was a struggle. And so yeah, working with her and meeting other women and knowing that I wasn't alone in my confusion of it all was very, very helpful. And I started finding empowerment within it. I started finding a lot of healing. I would just do things where I would just pour love into myself versus just fantasies, but just the fantasies of how much I can love myself. And started using it as a way to manifest. And it really became more of a ritual that wasn't sexual, but that used, I guess, those sexual organs in other ways. And then with a little bit before my grief, my father passed. But before then, I decided to abstain from masturbation as a way to create more creative space in my life and a space for a partner to come in. And then grief happened and I just like, I don't care.
I cannot abstain any longer.
I was like, and so now I'm just in a place of, I don't even know how to say it, but just a place I feel very at one with it. I guess I will say. Not play on words solo. But yeah, it's just I feel very grateful for my journey with it. And how I evolve with myself in that way and how I find ways to use it to better myself and better my life. And I'm happy to hold that space for other people, not just women, but other people to find themselves within it, and to find a form of self-love and a form of healing and coming back to your body, and remembering how to love your body and love yourself.
Mm, yes. I love that you I mean you took us on a journey, and I feel like it is going to continue to be a
Yeah.
journey, right? Like you're always going to have discover something different about you, discover something different about how masturbation helps you in some different way. Um yeah, yeah. I feel like my journey is very similar. You know, like growing up, I wasn't super, my family wasn't super religious. But we went to a non-denominational church regularly. My mom grew up Christian, my dad grew up Catholic, and I feel like the sex wasn't completely shunned, but you know, I just feel like how society um, portrayed it, and how my parents or wouldn't talk about it, and you know, like I feel like there was a shame just because it was not discussed. So I remember, yeah, the first time masturbating it feeling very good in my body, but feeling some type of way like, "Ooh, I shouldn't be doing this, like
I
this is
shouldn't be
bad, this is
doing
this is wrong, yeah, this is wrong." But still continued to do it. So, you know, it wasn't that bad.
body. Are you?
But
Are you?
but yeah, the learning of, you know, sex magic and, you know, masturbation, and like bringing about certain things in your life from it. I like completely believe in that. So yeah, I feel like there's some similarities. And I feel like there's a lot of people that have felt the shame in
Yeah.
masturbation. Yeah.
This is why I think like the other partners resonates with so many people. We premiered at River Run last month, and so many people came up to me afterwards and were like, "This is my favorite. Like I really felt that. Like I've been with Raj, or I was the Rowan, or I was the Raj." And so that's been really, really helpful. I had a friend admit how it's been helping her process her own sex trauma. That made me cry, because I was in a place with the project of like, is this doing any good for the world? And she was like, yes. Um, it's really awesome to see people come together for masturbation. I love telling stories, and I love that I can tell a silly, funny film with dildos and people feel something, and
Mm,
they reflect on something, and they feel the need to do something or say something or change something. Like that's more than what I could ask for with anything that I do. So I feel that that the other partners is definitely doing what it's meant to do. So
yeah. And I do believe that this film is giving permission for people to discuss it, you know, because I think that I still feel that with sex, with pain with sex, with like issues, trauma from, you know, sex, if it's not brought up, then I feel like there's a lot of people that don't want to bring it up and don't want to talk about it. But as soon as that, for like one little sliver, one little piece of information is given, or like you kind of tell your story, or you know, like you made this very funny. Like it was a very funny film, and which was much appreciated, because I feel like, you know, for a lot of um taboo topics, you can't make it heavy. Like, you know, it was very light, so I really did I enjoyed
flying
that.
dildos, I mean, can't
I
get light.
enjoyed flying dildos, yes. But I was saying that, yeah, like it brings about the discussion. Like it just gives people permission to say, "Hey, this has happened to me. Like it's okay to have this discussion. It's like this is normal. This is
Normal.
self-love. This is pleasure. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah. And
yeah,
it's
this is okay."
normalizing who we see have these conversations.
Yes. And yeah, no, I'm so happy that you also had it, it's a Black woman and he's Indian
Yes.
man,
Mhm.
have the discussion, because I feel like even the sex talks or the sex videos or movies or whatever that we see, I mean, there's many out there, but I still feel like it's mainly white and not necessarily like BIPOC
Yeah,
discussion.
yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it how it's seen and what Black women are allowed to be sexually, I feel is very limited. And just having some and just in female characters, just having someone so confident about their masturbation is rare to see as well. It's when you see it, it's like, oh, the woman then quickly hides the dildo and puts it away, you know? Whereas Rowan is like, yeah, go get them. Go get that big spot.
Okay.
Yeah, oh my mother. Yeah, go ahead. You
And
want
it
to be
was
the
a big box. It was a big box.
you know, like
Yeah. Which brings me to my next question about like the portrayal of Black women in the media, and like what is your view of that portrayal of Black women, especially when it comes to sex and sexuality?
yeah, for sure. I do feel like it's getting so much better. But really it was a lot of like the harlot, the seductress, the prostitute, you know? Like that's where BIPOC women really stand. Um, Not so much in the power sex roles. And I don't consider this a sex role per se. Um, but it's also even in the conversation of sex. Like there's not a lot of conversations of BIPOC people having about sex on media. Like when you look at the at TV, particularly, like a lot of this happens in family shows. Usually, those families are white. We don't get to see Latino families discussing sex, or Black families, Asians families discussing sex as much as we get to see other families do that. And we don't get to see things outside. We do, but not a lot of outside of the party person who's having the one night stand. Like, how does this work in a relationship, you know, where one may have more of a need or just a want to have private time versus the other? Like, how I've never seen that conversation had in a film. And so really that was me taking all of that in, of not seeing that, or seeing certain things and being like, this is what I want to do. I particularly did want a Black female. I did want it to be interracial. I didn't want it to be with a white male counterpart, because I feel whenever there's an interracial relationship is typically with a white person. Like there's no other ethnicity that you can date. Like if you date outside of your race, no. Uh, so it was just all of that. And yeah, and so I just want to be a part of the creators who are working towards inclusivity, like really working to that. And what does that look like? It's not just a word that you can put on a product for a grant so you can receive more money for your company. It's actually an action. And so that's what I was striving to do with the other partners. And I can only do it with two characters. So
Yeah. But you did it well. You did it very well. Yes, this diversity and inclusivity thing is a big thing now, right? Where certain places are wanting to take that department or take that away from people, but or companies, but I feel like we definitely need it. We need to see more diversity, and I feel like we are in advertisements and media, but yes, there's always more that there can be, and definitely the inclusivity part as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah. What are your hopes in the future of like, creating that narrative of what you want to see of like positive BIPOC discussions around sex, and it's not just, the party person. Yeah, especially as a filmmaker.
Yeah, as do you mean surrounding the subject of sex? Like what I want to
Yeah.
see in media?
Yeah, like what are your yes, what
I
are
would
your
just
hopes,
say
yes,
like
around sex?
I feel particularly strong that stories about Black women need Black women's voices behind it. So I'm just my hope, and it goes beyond just the conversation of sex, and sexuality and sensuality, but just to see more of the representation behind the camera. Because I feel when we have those people in the room, when we have them behind the camera, writing the scripts, directing the vision, all of that is fixed. I'm not, like I'm gonna represent for the
Yeah.
people, because I'm gonna represent for me,
Yeah.
and so for me, that is what I want to see. I want to see more hands down to reach up the BIPOC generation of storytellers and giving them the platform and the space and the resources to tell their stories so that we are seeing more, not just inclusive, but just a broader imagination, a wider, wilder imagination than what we have been seeing. Like, how many sequels and remakes of things have we been pushing out? We wouldn't
So many
have so
recently, like
many
so many.
if we could
Yeah.
if there was a way that we can support creatives like other countries can support their creatives. So um, yeah, I was really lucky with not particularly this project, but with another project that I'm working on, where a colleague and friend that I've made who's been seeing my work essentially was, what is the term when back in the day when like the king and queen would give an artist a oh my gosh, what is it called?
Endowment?
Isn't it endowment?
Endowment?
But they just paid you to create.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, basically, a colleague and friend did that to me when right before the strike happened, and that experience of someone just saying, like, I want to give you the space, I want to give you the opportunity to just focus on creating. The strike
Mm,
is about to go down, like jobs are not happening, like just focus on writing. And with that, and that particular story, I've been able to write in a different way than I have on other projects just because of the space that allowed me not to worry about other things. And
yeah.
just
Without
focus
resources and
on
money
creating.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
And I feel like it's I feel personally is my best work yet. And it just got me thinking, like, what if there's a way to just keep doing this more and more and more? Like, that is how we change the landscape of entertainment. That is how we have the action of inclusivity, and we see these different complex characters from all these different backgrounds that can exist in all these different worlds. But it's hard
Mm.
to do when you're living in LA, not being able to pay your rent because no one's
It's sky high.
hiring. or, or you haven't been paid your residuals and or whatnot, so um all that, I feel like was a very long-winded answer to say
No.
fund
Well, I mean,
artists.
yeah.
That solves everything.
Yes. I mean, I think I want to see more like queer black women or just queer people. But no, queer black women, because I feel like there's a lot of queer black men, there's a lot of things out there about that, but not necessarily like a queer black woman's perspective. I know Lena Waithe, she's clear black, yeah, not clear, queer and black and a woman.
I have a story
And
about Lena Waithe.
huh?
I have one story about Lena Waithe.
Ooh, yes.
It's a quick story, but I'm gonna make it long. I was not volunteering. I was interning at Film Independent, and they had their Spirit Awards, and she was one of the hosts that year. And I was not on the Spirit Awards team, but last minute they needed some volunteer because it was supposed to rain. And they were like, we need a volunteer to hold the umbrella over people while they get out of their car. And I was like, okay, I'll be that person that greets every filmmaker who's coming to this. Turns out it didn't rain. And so I just got to stand there and look pretty and say hi to people.
Okay.
But anyway, so Lena Waithe comes and there's like a crowd of people around her. And I'm just standing there and she's looking around and then she stops and she looks at me and she waits for my eyes to connect and she gives me the black nod. And then she goes, and I was like, oh my gosh, she noticed me.
The black nod.
I had to look around and make sure there weren't other black people.
You're like, is there anyone else that you could be looking at? That's dope. That is dope. But yeah, no, I would love to see more stories, dialogues about queer women. So
Yeah.
if you wanna, put that into some of your stuff, that would be dope. Yeah, but
oh, I still like speaking of Lena Waithe, the episode from Master of None, the Thanksgiving episode with Angela, that will forever stay imprinted on me of just such a needed and very much well done story.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah. No, that was dope. And I was like, I was like so excited to like watch something like that. Like I was so excited. So yes, would love to see more of that in the future from other filmmakers. So if you're
Yes.
listening, other filmmakers and directors
Yes.
and such, then yes, put those out there.
We'll finance these stories.
Yes. Well, Destiny, how can people watch this film that we've been talking about? Because I definitely want people to watch it and, see it and connect with it and have discussions about it too.
Yeah, it was just online as part of a festival, but it ended, what is today? Yes, it ended yesterday. And so for right now, I just have a teaser online, which you can see on Vimeo. Is also linked to my Instagram. But I'm hopeful that next year I will be able to put it out on the interwebs. But if you follow the other partners film on Instagram or Destinee Stewart _creates, you can keep up with all our screenings. And if there's one in your town, I would love for you to DM me. If I have a dildo, I will definitely give you one, or a Viber for DMing me and coming out. So I would love that. That would be amazing.
Yes. Well, I will put that information in the description of today's episode, of your website, of your social media,
Yeah.
and yeah. Well, thank you so much, Destiny, for being on today and having this discussion about self-love and masturbation and your journey and creating this film, because it was again much needed and like this dialogue definitely needs to continue.
Much for having me. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And thank you everybody for listening to the Viva La Vulva podcast. If you like this episode, like, subscribe to the podcast, and I will talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Do they see it? No.
They'll see, yeah.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Bye. Maybe I just ended. Okay.